Yun Xiang is a comic book artist without a single hit comic. To become more famous, she needs a perfect man as a model for her male lead. That man is none other than Si Han, the young master of the Fu Corporation. Years ago, he had an accident and is now wheelchair-bound. But he's still a heartthrob. He's not only handsome, but he's also incredibly wealthy. While she was watching him, Yun Xiang was spotted by Si Han's assistant, Chu He. Startled, she tried to run away, but unfortunately she bumped into Si Han and accidentally spilled yogurt on him. Soon after, her comic book was released. The next morning, she got a call from her editor. She rushed to the company, only to get into another accident. She hit Si Han's car. His assistant, Chu He, recognized her as the stalker from before and wanted to call the police. Scared, Yun Xiang grabbed Si Han's arm to explain, even offering to pay for the car repairs. Annoyed, Si Han spoke up, and Chu He left. At the office, she received shocking news. The Fu family was suing her. She'd used Si Han's name for her male lead, and he considered it defamation. He didn't want to see the comic again. To resolve this, Yun Xiang went to the Fu Corporation. Since he's the dream man of so many girls, getting an appointment with Si Han takes 3 to 5 months. Her attempt to sneak in failed, so she disguised herself as a delivery person. Security suspected her and gave chase. In the ensuing chase, security accidentally knocked Yun Xiang down, and Si Han, in his wheelchair, unintentionally ran over her. Before she could explain, security dragged her out. He warned her to stop following them, or she'd be arrested. Refusing to give up, she decided to wait. Security spotted her through surveillance cameras, but when they arrived, she was gone. Yun Xiang had hidden herself in Si Han's car trunk. Though uncomfortable crammed in the trunk with a durian, she successfully arrived at Si Han's house. The mansion was so large, she couldn't find him. However, Chu He heard a noise and suspected an intruder. While fleeing, Yun Xiang finally found Si Han and quickly covered his mouth. "Please don't sue me. It's fiction. We can change it." He promised not to yell, so she let go. But he triggered the alarm, sending her into a panic. Hearing the commotion, He rushed in and saw Yun Xiang on top of Si Han. Before anyone could react, a familiar voice appeared. Zhao Yue, Si Han's aunt, arrived furious. She was angry he'd skipped his arranged blind date, using his seniority as an excuse to avoid it. He insisted he already had a girlfriend, and lifted the covers to reveal Yun Xiang hiding underneath. Yun Xiang quickly played along, praising Si Han lavishly, and even pretending morning sickness. This move completely baffled the two men. His aunt stormed off. Yun Xiang's plan was to get him to drop the lawsuit. However, it backfired and security threw her out. The next morning, Zhao Yue brought his grandfather to question her. He calmly explained his girlfriend wasn't pregnant. His aunt shifted gears, calling Yun Xiang someone of dubious background. To avoid upsetting his grandfather, Si Han lied, saying she was the heiress of the Yun Corporation, a company that primarily operates overseas. His aunt continued to praise Jin Tian, emphasizing her gentleness and appropriateness for Si Han. His grandfather, curious about his first girlfriend, wanted to meet Yun Xiang. She was at the hospital visiting her mother when Chu He arrived. Si Han offered a contract. If she agreed to pretend to be his fiancée, he'd drop the lawsuit and pay her handsomely. She refused, unwilling to lie. He persisted, arguing that living with him would allow her to create a more realistic male character, attracting more readers. He also offered to help her mother get the best treatment, making her waver. Before signing, she questioned why he chose her as his fiancée. He confidently stated he'd never like her. She retorted that male leads often say that, and then get slapped in the face. Si Han insisted he was the male lead, but asked if she was sure she was the female lead. Yun Xiang got angry, declaring she wouldn't fall for him even if he were the only man on earth. He eagerly awaited to see who'd get slapped first. He muttered, "Big talk now, but you'll be madly in love later." Hearing she had to meet the legendary and terrifying Fu family patriarch, she panicked. Overly stressed, she needed the bathroom, but the house was so big she couldn't find her way back to the main hall. She saw an elderly man opening a durian. Offering to help, she charmed him, and he gave her a piece. Despite being in a hurry, she chatted with him. She said, "I'll meet Chairman Fu soon. I hear he's incredibly eccentric and difficult. Just thinking about it scares me." Before leaving, she warned the old man to limit his durian consumption for his health. Only upon returning to the main hall Did she realize the old man was Si-han's grandfather? Xiao Yue suspected Si-han, who'd never had a girlfriend, suddenly had a fiancé. She pulled out a photo of the Yun Corporation heiress, and both Yun Shang and Si-han froze in fear. Had their lie been discovered so quickly? Xiao Yue pointed out that Yun Shang didn't look like the heiress at all. Yun Shang was flustered until she saw it was a childhood photo, and they both breathed a sigh of relief. Their plan failed, so Xiao Yue devised a new one. She organized a high-class party for the next day, inviting Yun Shang. It was women only. Though Yun Shang tried to refuse, the grandfather insisted she attend to better understand the Fu Corporation's relationships. Their long day ended. To avoid Xiao Yue's investigation, they had to stay together. The household staff were Xiao Yue's spies. Yun Shang could only trust Si-han and Chu He. At dinner, she expected a fancy meal, but was disappointed to find only vegetables. Si-han presented 8 rules she had to follow. One of the rules included not eating food that he disliked. He then delivered her favorite snail noodles. The delicious food cheered her up. The smell bothered the two men, but she ignored them. Si-han's 8 rules wouldn't change her. If she starved, no one would enforce them. Manager Chen, a spy for Xiao Yue, constantly reported on them. Finding nothing suspicious, Xiao Yue was furious. She planned to expose Yun Shang at the party the next night. Enjoying the luxurious house, Yun Shang happily embraced the wealthy lifestyle. She sang loudly while showering, giving Si-han a headache. Unable to tolerate it, he knocked on her door. Soap suds caused her to slip and fall. Hearing the noise, he rushed in, seeing her naked. He calmly retreated to his room for water, his heart racing. He attended Xiao Yue's party alone. Si-han prepared meticulously. She received a full makeover, choosing outfits with a stylist's help. Her transformation was complete, captivating Si-han and herself. He felt it wasn't enough, still finding her inferior to the heiress. She retorted angrily. Her dress caught, and she fell into him. He only told her to put on more perfume. The smell of snail noodles lingered. Yun Shang appeared beautiful at Xiao Yue's party, immediately catching the attention of 2 malicious women who poured wine on her shawl. Then Xin Tian arrived, Xiao Yue's choice for Si-han. Beautiful and kind, she helped Yun Shang. Yun Shang later realized Xin Tian wasn't simple, displaying typical villainous traits. Knowing Yun Shang was Si-han's fiancé, Xin Tian feigned closeness with him, giving Yun Shang a shawl with the French words, "I'm an idiot." Si-han worried at home, fearing she couldn't handle the schemers. The 2 malicious women were Xin Tian's accomplices. Everything was a plan. Luckily, Yun Shang was clever and saw through it. Xin Tian, exposed, provoked Yun Shang, who splashed wine on her. Xin Tian retaliated, and Yun Shang calmly pushed her into the pool. Xiao Yue accused Yun Shang of disgracing the Fu family. Si-han defended her, even saying she livened up the party, and they were acting intimate in front of everyone. She said, "Honey, I'm tired. Let's go home." Seeing her wet clothes in the car, he wiped her down. Their closeness increased. That night, she had a fever. Si-han, though caring, remained cool. He took care of her all night. In her sleep, she mistook his hand for her mother's and held it tight. She woke up healthy, finding Si-han sick with a common cold, which she found amusing. The rich make mountains out of molehills. She didn't even bother asking Si-han and went to make ginger tea. Si-han sighed in bed, calling her heartless. He felt bad for him, since he got sick from taking care of her all night, and she was so cold. Yun Shang received a call from her doctor and rushed to the hospital. At the hospital, she saw Xin Tian following her. Her simple disguise was obvious. Yun Xiang quickly ditched her by luring her into a room and yelling, "A celebrity's here." Fans swarmed in to take Xin Tian's picture. In the room, she found her mother playing a game with Lin Zi. Her mother, losing constantly, asked for her help, and Yun Shang easily won. Before leaving, she told him not to let her mother play anymore. Reaching the elevator, she realized she'd forgotten her phone. An elderly man had collapsed inside. Seeing medicine on the floor, she gave it to him and called for a nurse. Lindsay returned her phone. He wanted to add her to WeChat, but she refused. Back home, Si-han scolded her for breaking their contract by going to the hospital during the week. The contract stated she could only go on weekends. If Xiao Yue saw it, it would be a big problem. They planned to buy a gift for his grandfather that morning, but reporters were outside. Jin Tian was spotted in the maternity ward, and they assumed it was Si-han's child. He denied any relationship with her, declaring Yun Xiang his fiancée, and kissed her in front of everyone. Back home, she complained about it being her first kiss. Chu, he said it was Si-han's first kiss too. His grandfather, reading the news, arrived angrily. To prove their loyalty, they acted romantic. The grandfather was pleased as she obediently fed him snacks. She said she didn't want to call him Si-han anymore, just Han. A detail from her comic. The sweet couple pleased the grandfather. He disliked Xin Tian, who was using the Fu family's reputation to promote herself, and told Xiao Yue to warn her. The rumor about Shen Tian and Si-han was Xiao Yue's doing. Shen Tian was just a pawn. Si-han felt bad when he learned Yun Xiang rushed to the hospital for her mother. Earlier, he'd scolded her for breaking the contract. Yun Xiang lay in bed, recalling the romantic moments with Si-han. Those images kept her awake. The next morning, she found a cat named Nuan Nuan, the same name as the cat in her comic, and Si-han apologized for his harsh words. She promised to care for Nuan Nuan well. He said, "And you'll care for me like you care for Nuan Nuan, right?" She shyly nodded. Chu, he was surprised at his smooth moves. While playing with the cat, Yun Xiang saw him taking pictures, thinking he was taking pictures of her, and fell into his arms. She grabbed his phone. She was disappointed because he was only taking pictures of the cat. Actually, she hadn't scrolled to the pictures of her yet. His grandfather loved Guo Ziming's paintings, but Xiao Yue had bought the last one. Only 3 are sold annually. Then, Guo himself arrived, recognizing his savior. He also mistook the man in the wheelchair at the hospital for Yun Shang's boyfriend. Learning Yun Shang was single and wanting to set her up with his grandson, Si-han interrupted, and Ziming promised to help them in return for saving his life. Before leaving, Si-han told her to avoid strange men, meaning Lin Zi. Called to the hospital by her mother, she feared her engagement to Si-han would be exposed. Luckily, her mother only wanted her to take Lin Zi out to dinner to thank him. Curious about the man in the wheelchair at the hospital, Si-han met him for a fair competition. The 2 men held a wheelchair race, a fiercely competitive match. In the end, Si-han won, and Lin Zi, unwilling to continue, stood up. It turned out his leg had healed long ago. He just enjoyed using the wheelchair. Si-han just had to complain about a sore hand, and Yun Xiang worried intensely, much to his delight. She carefully applied medicine, pleasing him. Their romance was interrupted by Chu He, who arrived with a gift for his grandfather's birthday. Their romantic moment ended. Yun Shang's gift was meaningful. The grandfather was delighted. Though she hadn't bought the painting, she'd commissioned Guo to carve a longevity character for him. Guo excelled at carving seals, which was why the grandfather liked his paintings. She scored big points. Then, Lin Zi from the Chu Corporation arrived. He knew Yun Shang wasn't the Yun Corporation heiress, but he didn't reveal it. She acted distant, but he invited her to dance. She agreed out of respect for the grandfather. Si-han watched them with a pained expression. A waiter arrived with a drink, saying the chairman awaited in the guest room. While dancing with Lin Zi, Yun Xiang discovered Si-han was gone and frantically searched for him. After drinking, Si-han became dizzy. Xin Tian had lured him there, attempting seduction, but he remained cold, only thinking of Yun Shang. As she undressed, Yun Shang arrived. Luckily, the back door was unlocked. The mistress received a punch from Yun Shang. The grandfather wasn't angry seeing them together, happy about the prospect of great-grandchildren soon. Xiao Yue and Xin Tian's plan failed again, infuriating her. Yun Xiang felt dizzy and fell asleep on his lap. Waking up, she found him beside her, her clothes changed. He gazed at her adoringly. His care made her shy. Though she liked it, she kept her distance because he was her boss. The failed plan strained Xiao Yue and Xin Tian's relationship, even leading to conflict. Si-han, despite disliking strong smells, prepared Yun Xiang's favorite dishes, disregarding his previous 8 rules. He even insisted on intimate terms from the comic. During the meal, she asked about his leg. He recounted his accident 7 years ago. She felt sorry for him. She said, "I'll protect you." Chu, he announced news from America. Si-han had recovered. He'd hidden it to find evidence about the accident and to ensure Yun Xiang's safety. Before leaving for America, he went to Yun Xiang's room, gently lifted her onto the bed, and kissed her. He whispered, "I'll slowly help you achieve your comics dreams. She was surprised to learn he'd left for America and given her company management. A contract needed her signature. She knew nothing, but he helped. Xiao Yu wanted to temporarily manage the Fu Corporation in Si-han's absence, but Yun Xiang stopped her. The board of directors approved Yun Xiang as the temporary CEO. Xiao Yue was furious and planned to make Yun Xiang regret it. Soon, a major incident occurred. Director Zhao from the Chu Corporation caused a scene, claiming Fu Corporation sold substandard products, a plan orchestrated by Xiao Yue. Just as Yun Xiang was stuck, Lin Zi appeared, claiming he could handle it. Afterward, he said, "You owe me a favor." The next day, everyone gathered at the company, including many reporters. Director Zhao revealed Xiao Yue's scheme to sabotage Fu Corporation. Though Xiao Yue denied it, Lin Zi confirmed it, showing he'd already investigated. The grandfather decided to stop protecting Xiao Yue. She was stripped of her vice president position, finally paying for her cruelty. This made Xiao Yaoyi even more resentful of Yun Xiang. To repay Lin Zi, Yun Xiang took him for hot pot. Sai Han appeared. The two men argued, each claiming to understand Yun Xiang best. Their excessive concern annoyed her. Only when she became angry did they quiet down. The restaurant offered couple headbands, and both handsome men took one. On the way home, Lin Zi reminded Yun Xiang of her promise to take him home. Sai Han wanted her to go with him, so both men got in the car together, leaving Yun Xiang behind. Thinking she was the romantic female lead, she was the boy's love-supporting character. Back home, Si Han still wore his headband, putting the other one on Yun Xiang. This is how a couple should be. She forgave him, saying, "Our contract doesn't need to be compatible anymore. Real couples don't sign love contracts." He declared the contract void, calling her his real fiancée. But she wanted him to be her practice boyfriend. Before becoming official, he stole a kiss. They slept together happily. His eyes showed his love. The next morning, he regretted his sleeplessness. "I should have slept in my room." Then, Yun Xiang received a call from her mother. Her aunt and cousin were visiting. Si Han wanted to go to the hospital, but her mother didn't know about their relationship. Yun Xiang didn't want her to overthink. At the hospital, her aunt and cousin kept mentioning her wealthy husband, confusing her mother. Seeing an opportunity, they flattered Yun Xiang, hoping she would give them some money to help them. Yun Xiang, finding them exploitative, called the police. They eventually left, cursing on the way out. Yun Xiang's mother then asked about Si Han, worried that her daughter was with him, only because of her illness. Reassured by Yun Xiang's genuine feelings, she expressed a desire to meet him. The greedy pair, having failed with Yun Xiang, went to Si Han's house. Seeing their fawning, Yun Xiang angrily chased them away, unmoved by their pleas. They were blinded by greed. Furious, Xiao Wei vowed to expose Yun Xiang's fake heiress status. Yun Xiang suggested they tell the grandfather the truth, but Si Han waited for the right moment. The next morning, Yun Xiang found her aunt and nephew working in the house, showing unbelievable audacity. This drove her crazy. Xiao Yue brought the grandfather. Hearing the girl's family was visiting, he was pleased. The greedy pair immediately greeted him, the nephew even knelt. He couldn't believe the family of the Yun heiress acted like this. Xiao Yue's plan succeeded, and she smirked. Si Han, outside, happily carried Yun Xiang's favorite stinky tofu. Unfortunately, he tripped, spilling it. He sensed something was wrong. To protect Si Han, Yun Xiang took the blame. Xiao Yue did not forgive her, and even added fuel to the fire. Si Han arrived, confirming he orchestrated the lie about her identity. This enraged the grandfather. He shouted, "Yun Xiang, leave. The Fu family doesn't welcome you." Then he fainted from anger. Si Han wanted to trick Xiao Yue into revealing the truth about the 7-year-old accident, but she remained silent. Yun Xiang, leaving the grandfather's room, broke up with Si Han, taking responsibility for deceiving him. She said, "My time with you was wonderful. The Fu family needs you. Your grandfather needs you. Forget me. You'll find someone better." Recalling their memories pained Si Han. They'd been through so much, their contract evolving into genuine feelings, a connection beyond material things. After using the greedy pair, Xiao Yue dismissed them ruthlessly. Yun Xiang visited her mother, looking unhappy. Her mother noticed her daughter didn't look like someone in love, questioning her about Si Han's absence. She'd promised to bring him. Yun Xiang explained the story through a friend. Her mother understood, saying life is short. If you find the right person and overcome obstacles, you'll regret it. Lindsay appeared in the hospital room. Si-han confessed everything to his grandfather. The hired actress and the lie were all his plan. The grandfather had guessed, but they weren't a good match. It was a happy ending, but Yun Xiang promised to leave Si-han. The grandfather didn't want his grandson searching for anyone else. However, he insisted he genuinely loved Yun Xiang. His grandfather pressured him to choose between his career and love, stating that he couldn't run Fu Corporation if he couldn't give up Yun Xiang. Lindsay was comforting Yun Xiang when Si-han appeared, vowing to win Yun Xiang back if Si-han hurt her. Si-han refused the CEO position to pursue his love. He couldn't imagine life without her. He then stood up, walking on his own, surprising her. He recounted the accident 7 years ago, suspecting Zhao Yue had tampered with his father's brakes. She always coveted the CEO position. He'd pretended to be weak to avoid her. His trip to America was to meet his father's former secretary, a witness to the accident. But Zhao Yue destroyed the evidence. He now wanted Yun Xiang's help to get Zhao Yue to confess. Since meeting her, his cold heart had melted. She was a ray of sunshine. Since meeting Yun Xiang, money and status meant little. He only wanted her by his side. He whispered, "I love you," and she replied, "I love you too." Forgetting their troubles, they kissed passionately. He pulled her onto the bed and continued their embrace. While Zhao Yue smugly felt she controlled the CEO position, Yun Xiang arrived, mentioning the old accident and the tampered brakes. Dashcam footage existed. The original was deleted, but a backup remained, and Yun Xiang had it. Zhao Yue panicked and offered money. Yun Xiang wanted the evidence in exchange for the vice president position. But Zhao Yue, seizing the opportunity, smashed the USB drive. Yun Xiang was frightening. She even accused Zhao Yue of harming her own brother. Zhao Yue revealed her true self. "He and I aren't related. As long as he's alive, Fu Corporation won't be mine. Even if I did it, what can you do without evidence?" The grandfather overheard. Even if Zhao Yue begged for forgiveness, he wouldn't forgive her. Adopting her was his biggest mistake. Her rage disappointed him. He said, "From now on, we will cut off our father-daughter relationship." The villain was punished. After many trials, Si-han knelt and proposed. Under the sparkling lights, they shared a romantic kiss. At the wedding, her mother was happy and much healthier, relieved her daughter wasn't alone. The grandfather happily entrusted his grandson with his responsibilities and looked forward to great-grandchildren. The couple walked happily, a perfect match finally together. Matching backgrounds are just words, and sincerity is the key. This is where the story ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to not miss out on more amazing videos. For now, goodbye, and until next time, bye.